Welcome. Good afternoon, everyone. I am so excited to welcome all of you today to our first Lunch and Learn, hosted by Penn State Health Benefits and Human Resources Department. This is going to be the first of many Lunch and Learns. Our next one is scheduled for April 21st, and for those of you who are in person with us, you'll find flyers in the back. This one is going to be on finding inner peace and purpose in the midst of chaos. So if you wouldn't mind taking some of those flyers and hanging them up in your work area so people in your department are aware. You can also zoom in live to these, and they will be recorded as well, and they'll be put on the Lion Pulse website, which is sites.psu.edu/lionpulse. Okay, so before we get started, I wanted to introduce you to someone and let you know about wellness happenings that are being started for faculty and physicians. So here is Dr. McLean, Director of Faculty and Physician Wellness.
Good morning, everyone. All right, I was wondering if you're going to leave me hanging up here. I'm delighted to be here. I'm Dr. Ron McLean. I won't keep you long this morning. I know I'm not the main show today, but I did wanted to just say a little word about the new office that has been started here, and that is the Office of Physician and Faculty Wellness. You know, none of us are immune to chronic disease or mental health concerns. And so there are some proven things that seem to mitigate or help with those kinds of issues: physical activity, good nutrition, good sleep, stress reduction, and so on. These are some of the kinds of activities that we're going to be focusing on. And as a director of this new office, I'm really excited to be here. I'm excited to, at least for now, we're going to be targeting working with physicians and faculty of the College of Medicine. And we're really going to be looking at both individually and institutionally for ways and activities that we can help improve wellness here at Penn State Health. And I'm grateful for this opportunity this morning because I want to just communicate this to the entire Penn State Health community so that everyone is aware. Even if we are not targeting your particular group right now, we may not be, but I still would like for you to be aware. There are 3 services I just want to point out very quickly, and then I will be done. Today, we are evolving. More is going to be coming, but we do offer individual counseling, referral, and support for employees who are physicians or faculty who are in distress currently. So if you know of someone who may not be familiar with the office yet, and if they're having difficulty, we are here to assist them in whatever way we can. Secondly, we have coaching services available. Let's say that you're having some kind of issue that you just like to talk out loud confidentially about. We're here to help create plans and assist in that way as well. And then finally, we work with division chiefs and departmental heads around environmental issues that affect the well-being of the institution. So, quick example of that, let's say you're working in a department where there are communication difficulties and folks are having trouble working through conflict. That's an issue that can impact well-being. And so that's something our office could also be of some assistance. So help us get the word out. We greatly appreciate that. And again, I want to thank Kara Bowers for inviting us this morning. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. McLean. We are so excited to see all that you do to expand your department and employee wellness. So a couple more things for the people in the room. There's lots of goodies in the back. Make sure you get a mindfulness journal and all the other things that are to offer back there. We also wanted to let everyone know that if you are a university employee, you can go to sites.psu.edu/LionPulse for all wellness happenings. And if you're a Penn State Health employee, go to My Solutions and you'll see a complete list of wellness and HR sponsored events. So without further ado, I want to thank everybody who's watching live through Zoom. And we have multiple sites and Penn State campuses participating today. So we ask that you please keep your microphone muted and put all questions that you may have through the chat box, and we'll be fielding those questions at the end. Dr. Radico works as a behavioral health specialist and assistant professor in Penn State Milton S. Hershey Medical Center's Family and Community Medicine Department. She is board certified in clinical health psychology. She earned her doctoral degree in clinical psychology and master's degrees in clinical psychology and counseling and clinical health psychology at the Philadelphia College of Osteopathic Medicine. Dr. Radico completed her postdoctoral fellowship in the Department of Family Medicine at the University of Mississippi Medical Center. Dr. Radico is also co-chair for the Penn State Hershey chapter of Group on Women in Medicine. She organized and moderates the psychologist group of Penn State Hershey, and Dr. Radico completed the STFM Behavioral Science Family Systems Educator Fellowship. Please join me in giving a warm welcome to Dr. Julie Radico.
All right. Can you all hear me? Awesome. Okay, so good afternoon. We are going to talk about stress, burnout, and fatigue. Woo! All right, so, nope, technical difficulties. Nope, we are not going to talk about these things. Okay, so I know my slides, so while we're figuring that out, I'm just going to jump forward. Our objectives today are to define and identify what is fatigue, what is burnout, because the title is coping with stress. So you're like, fatigue, burnout, what are these things? And then we're going to name and practice 2 strategies to help you hopefully mitigate stress, burnout, and fatigue. So, what is fatigue? Fatigue is an unrelenting exhaustion that's not relieved by stress. So if we think about, wait, we're talking about stress, how does that relate to fatigue? I think about stress as your baseline, which can build and turn into fatigue, which then can build and turn into burnout. And we're going to talk about burnout in 2 more slides. But so fatigue, this unrelenting exhaustion that's not relieved by stress, it's a nearly constant state of weariness that develops over time. It reduces your motivation, it reduces your energy, it reduces your concentration. So fatigue can come from multiple sources, but if we click to the next slide, here are some of them. So irregular or long work hours, heavy job demands, poor sleep, strained relationships, and even the environment in which you work in or learn in can wear on you and cause fatigue. If you're in an environment that has a lot of bright lighting, I walked onto this floor and it was like the sun, like, whoa, that can wear on you. So then if we look at what is burnout. So again, we're on this continuum of stress, fatigue, and then burnout. How many of you, by show of hands, have heard the word burnout before? Yeah, so we talk about this a lot, right? This idea of everybody's burned out, especially in like a physician community. And I know my audience is larger, but physician burnout is a hot topic. So what is burnout? The dimensions as defined of what is burnout. So we're past fatigue and we've built to this level of exhaustion, depersonalization, and cynicism. So you are exhausted past the point of fatigue. You maybe are feeling cynical in what you do. So you see somebody that you may have engaged with in a more positive manner before you were burnt out, thinking about, ooh, why did I not really pay attention to them? Or why did I snap at them more quickly than I would? And then this feeling of inefficacy. Sorry, I said depersonalization earlier. That's another part of the theory. But so inefficacy, the feeling like nothing that you do matters. So this idea that I work really hard and it doesn't pay off. So prolonged response to chronic emotional and interpersonal stressors. And it says on the job, but it can be in any setting. It can impair both your personal and social functioning. So, professional burnout. I alluded to, we talk about this a lot in medical care. It's associated with early retirement, alcohol use, and suicidal ideation. All of those are unwanted outcomes, I would say, and a terrible outcome. Thinking about the literature and what kind of fuels burnout in a professional sense, high work demands, low control, so feeling like you, again, are not really having control over your own environment, feeling like you're not supported by your coworkers or your supervisors. This can add and lead to burnout. And then this high energy input and low reward. So what the research shows us is that if you feel like you're spending a lot of energy and time focusing on like your work, and you feel like you're not getting anything back or not what you feel you should be getting back, that can build and lead to burnout. So before we go into some of the general things that are important to think about when we think about stress, fatigue, and burnout and mitigating, because we're talking about stress busters, right? I have a slide on here for sleep, because sleep is super important and we don't get enough of it. So this study was looking at medical residents, but I think it's applicable to all of us. The take-home points are that if you don't get enough sleep and you don't get good quality sleep, you are walking a fine line that can easily tip over into dangerous. And I know that there are, I think every year there's a presentation that happens here on campus about sleep, because it's so important, talking about sleep deprivation and how we can improve our sleep. Not what this presentation is about. It's about stress, but that if you're well rested, you can function better, which then hopefully helps you do things or ask for help or put things in place that hopefully would mitigate your stress. So if we click, what are some of the things we can do to prevent stress, fatigue, burnout? So top bullet there, recognizing symptoms of stress. We talk a lot about what are the symptoms of stress, what does it look like? And there are some good categories that we know of when people get stressed, fatigue, burnout. I just went through a couple of them. But my hope for you is for you to think about, what does your stress look like? So each of us has our own stress limits, our own stress thresholds, and mine is probably different than yours. Or when I start to get stressed, I might eat way too much chocolate. Or when I'm stressed, I might sleep way too much, where somebody else might not sleep at all. Getting a sense of what are your triggers and what are your early warning signs for stress. Managing demands, both professional and personal. So again, this is different per person. So what is your workload and what is a reasonable workload for you? So one of the things that often can happen, and I can't see, I know there's like more than 25 people on Zoom. I can't see you Zoom people, but there are a lot of women sitting in front of me. And so one thing I'm gonna say is that women tend to say yes a lot. And we tend to put a lot on our plates, and we feel bad saying no. Like we're letting other people down, or there's something wrong if we can't fulfill everyone's needs. And my encouragement for you, another easier said than done, but something really important is to say, okay, where do I draw the line? Where do I draw the line in my work demand self-care ratio? And that might be different for each person. You might say yes to 20 things and you can manage them. I might say yes to 15 things and I'm like, oh my gosh, what did I just do to myself? This is overwhelming, and this is leading me to fatigue and burnout. But so recognizing what it is that you are signing up for, and is it purposeful? Is it moving you toward, so as a faculty member, I think now, is it moving me toward promotion? And some things I do a lot of service. My service bucket might be really, really full, and I need to be looking at my scholarship bucket. And so if I'm saying yes to all this service, that's probably really great, but is it helping me as much as I feel I'm helping others? So just thinking about that balance. Recognizing the limits of control. So this is a hard one, but really being mindful of, can you recognize and switch from a doing, fixing mindset to a acceptance and a coping. So there are times when you will encounter things that you can no longer fix. You can no longer do something to it. And do you have good strategies for being able to sit with whatever that is, accept it, and cope with it? Do you have good people around you? Like, this is a really maybe bad outcome for a patient. Or you failed a test. Okay, well, you can't go undo that, but can you sit? Can you cope? Can you strategize what comes next? Looking at, in bold in the top here, I bolded it because it's super important, avoiding perfectionism and excessive self-criticism. So one of the evidence-based strategies I'm going to mention on another slide is what's called cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT for short. It's a type of therapy that I mainly practice. The idea behind it is that we have thoughts, emotions, physical symptoms or responses, and behaviors, and they all impact one another. One of the things I see a lot or hear a lot is that people will tell me, oh yeah, you know, I'm constantly saying things like that wasn't good enough, or what if I'd done that better, or what if this happens because I didn't do this, or I know I should have done that better, I should have been on top of that, I shouldn't have let that happen. And if we're not giving ourselves some space to not be perfect, then we are going to run ourselves ragged. So my encouragement for you is to start to catch what is it that you're saying to yourself. Because we tend to say things to ourselves that we would never say out loud to somebody else because it's too mean. I'm going to let you take a second to recognize that you have probably done this. And it's okay if you have, but my hope for you is to advocate that it's not right. But our internal critic that we've been fostering and watering since we were little kids needs to be told it's not allowed to run our lives. So taking a moment when you're in that setting and you're like, oh crap, I shouldn't have done that, I shouldn't have said that, oh, I messed that up. Take a pause and say, hold up, what am I saying to myself? Do I need to be perfect? Who's perfect? Nobody is perfect. Nobody on the planet. The Dalai Lama is not perfect. So if we are not the Dalai Lama, and he's not perfect, we can't be perfect. So just giving ourselves permission to be flawed, to be human, and then obtaining help if needed is the last one I'll highlight on this slide. With that idea that you don't need to be perfect, ask for help. Whether you have messed, quote unquote, something up, or you think you're messing it up, or you just don't want to mess it up, or you're just a human being. You know, you have people around you that want to support you. And women, as many of you are, you're probably good at fostering relationships. Men are as well. But I'm saying this to say that you have resources around you. I'd be very surprised to find that you have absolutely no one that you could reach out to for help. It's not really how we function. We like to think we function that way, but it's not how we function. So ask for help when you need it. All right, so on the last slide, one of the bullet points was engaging in a healthy lifestyle. So here's the part where you're like, yep, I've heard this a ton. So I'm going to highlight it again. Getting enough sleep, again, is really, really critical. Seeing a physician for routine medical care, and I've got the yes, you, because I find a lot of times when people are adjacent to the medical field, we tend to self-diagnose or think we're okay, we avoid self-care. So yes, you get a checkup. And then exercising regularly and eating a healthy diet. I'm going to highlight exercising regularly. So I don't know if any of you listen to NPR, I do. And last week I was like, ooh, do they know I'm giving this talk next week? They had a segment in the morning that was even little bits of exercise count. They were talking about that there's more and more research that shows that every little bit of exercise that we do, which is walking up the steps, vacuuming vigorously. These are the examples they gave. They're like, well, vacuum just a little more vigorously. That counts. Anything that's getting your heart pumping. So if you can't get to the gym 5 days a week, you can still take care of yourself. And we know that that can help reduce and mitigate stress. So if you're feeling overwhelmed, take a step out of wherever you are, whatever you're doing, and go walk up the steps for 5 minutes. It sounds random, but nobody needs to know that you're just walking up the steps and walking down the steps. But take some time to regroup mentally when you do that, but also to be healthy throughout the day. And then being aware of your stress level. So again, your stress level may look different than everybody else in this room. And that's okay. It's just recognizing what is your own stress level. Being kind to yourself when you make mistakes. So I've already highlighted this, but again, that internal critic is really, really cruel at times and can paralyze you. So being aware that your thoughts do not often reflect reality. So there's a big theory in cognitive behavioral therapy where we all have our own mental filter. So we all have put on our own colored glasses and we're looking at a situation differently. The best way to explain this is if I put a lemon on the counter, that lemon, without any glasses on, is yellow. Now you don't have to answer out loud, but I'm going to ask you, if I were to hand you blue colored lenses and asked you, what color is that lemon? You might respond, green. This is the best example of a mental filter because that lemon is still yellow. But the way you're viewing it, what you're telling yourself, what colored lenses you put on impacts how you see things. I might be wearing orange colored lenses, so I see it as orangish. And neither of us are necessarily right or wrong, but our perspective has a big impact on our stress level, our fatigue, our burnout, and the amount of energy we have to give throughout the day. So I highlighted this a little bit before, but I want to highlight it again. If you are thinking, okay, she's talking a lot of stuff, what should I apply? Here's something to apply. Here's an action item. Social support is really, really important in mitigating stress. An action item for you is that if on your to-do list for this week, you don't have some sort of self-care interaction with other people. So not like, oh, I have this meeting, well, I'll see some people that I get along with at work. Sure, that can count, but that's not necessarily self-care focused. Is there a dinner? Is there a movie? Is there I'm going to make a phone call to somebody I haven't talked to? Put that on your to-do list. Prioritize the things that refuel you, and one of those things can be engaging in social support activities. So it can be like you can watch a movie on the phone with somebody or talk about, I literally just got off the phone with a friend who was like, what is going on? She's like, if you could bring back one Harry Potter character that died during the series, who would it be? And I was like, this is ridiculous, but this is self-care for a moment. Okay. And I'm not going to give away spoilers, but it's somebody who died in the 5th book, my person. But that's stress management. So, I'm going to give a big presentation. Let me check in with a support group member for a moment and talk about something that's self-care. So put that on your to-do list because it's important. All right, getting to our first activity, our first strategy we're going to engage in, prosocial behavior. So there is research out there that the act of doing things for others and being what I'm going to call a benefactor has a positive impact on your stress level. So it connects to mindfulness, and the little books here that they've given out, if you're here in person, this is not in this book, which I think is awesome because now you get an extra strategy, but these mindfulness strategies are pretty on point in this book. So being a positive force for good in the world has a stress-reducing effect. And examples of this doesn't have to be some crazy, giant pro-social behavior that nobody can achieve unless you don't work and have all the free time. It's things like maybe donating time and money, holding open a door, things that are pro-social behavior, paying for the next person in the drive-thru. I have friends who do this all the time. Asking someone if they need help, speaking up for a colleague in a meeting. So one of the things, and again, I'm going to call out the gender in the room, is there's a lot of literature that talks about that women can be part of a phenomenon where they're not really heard in settings, and sometimes that's in meetings. And so if you are sitting in a meeting and you've heard one of your fellow women saying something really smart, really important, and it's ignored, you can bring attention to that and be like, oh, I think, her idea was really, really great. Maybe we should try that out. Or could we just take another moment to consider that? That's supporting someone. So if we go to the next slide, mindfulness practice. So being a benefactor. A benefactor, super straightforward, is a person who has the best interest of others in their hearts and minds. That's it. You don't need any other requirements to be a benefactor. So if you wish good for somebody else, congratulations, you're a benefactor. Part of this mindfulness strategy is to act upon that. And we're going to do that. So if we click. So for the next minute or so, well, we got 2 minutes because we're good on time. I want you to, you don't have to write this down, but I want you to sit and recall what is something that you have done in the past for which you think somebody else probably felt gratitude towards you because. It could be any setting, any place, any time, but just take a moment to think about, and you can think of multiple examples, that's totally fine, but something where you feel like that other person felt grateful. And please do not fall into the self-criticism trap. Do not judge it. It doesn't have to be some giant act of goodness, but any small thing counts. So take a moment, be mindful, and think of what is something you did that you feel like somebody else may have felt grateful. All right, do y'all have something in mind? And then if we go to the next slide, here's our action. So now I would like you to write, type, whatever is going to be useful for you or you have handy. Take 2 minutes and write down, again, or type, in the next week, what could you do to be a benefactor? And again, it's anything where you have somebody else's best interest in your heart and your mind. Anything. You can write down ways that you might be a secret benefactor, doing something that nobody will know that you've done, but it's an act of kindness. I'm seeing some cheer in the background. You can be as detailed as you would like. You can have a list. Doesn't just have to be one. All right. And then if we go to the next slide, how did it feel to do that. Super straightforward. That's the whole activity. But how did it feel, reflecting on what did it feel like to consider being a benefactor? What did it feel like when you thought about how you had been a benefactor, how you had engaged in prosocial behavior? Remember, research tells us that this can help reduce your level of stress. So doing something kind for another person, being a benefactor, feels good because it helps somebody else, but also can reduce your stress. And if we think about, well, what are the components of things that can add to burnout, fatigue, that low level of control in your environment, this is a way to exert control and to support others. So another factor was feeling not supported by coworkers or supervisors. So if you're doing acts of kindness, not that you're expecting reciprocity, but it might help you feel closer. There's a lot of psychology that I think plays into this, but it's as straightforward as taking, what did that take us, like 3 minutes to think about good things that you've done and to plan to do more. So if you were sitting there and you're like, I can't think of anything I've done ever that's good for another person, I find that hard to believe, but okay, I'll take it at face value, then doing exactly what we did and planning what you can do. And so my second assignment, the first was that engaging in social, care with people that you love or like. The second assignment would be to do this, to take 3 minutes a week, and you can judge yourself if you can commit that time, but 3 minutes of reflecting on, well, what did I do last week? And then what can I continue to plan for the upcoming week? It's a moment of being mindful about what you're actually doing, your actions in the world, but then also how you can be a force for change and keep getting benefits of reducing your own stress, but also maybe reducing somebody else's. All right, I want to ask if you have questions, but saving them for the end. All right, so next slide. Here is a brief pause before we go into our next strategy. But some of the effective treatment methods for reducing stress and anxiety that are reported by the literature, this is not all of them, but some of them: progressive muscle relaxation, guided imagery, again, cognitive behavioral therapy and strategies, which I've alluded to, and then mindfulness-based stress reduction. So it's mentioned in this mindfulness book, but also Dr. Tim Riley, who is one of my fellow faculty members in family medicine, I believe it's this week or next, maybe like the 28th, there is a mindfulness-based stress reduction course that he is co-leading that is happening in our conference center. It's a couple weeks long, and there's a silent retreat that's part of it. But mindfulness-based stress reduction is an evidence-based strategy that is helpful, been shown to be helpful for depression, anxiety, chronic pain. So just be aware that things like this happen in our community, which could be helpful. And then I've got underlined at the bottom, because it's our next strategy we're going to practice, diaphragmatic breathing. If we click over, people often tell me that they do some deep breathing. And then when I ask them a little bit more about it, I come to find out that they're missing some key components. So as basic as this is, I think about it as this is one of the building blocks for any relaxation strategy, and therefore for stress reduction. So it's often known as diaphragmatic breathing, abdominal breathing, belly breathing, deep breathing. I might use them all interchangeably. But so diaphragmatic breathing is breathing purposely, slowly, calmly, and using your diaphragm. So often when we get stressed, we breathe up. We trap air in our chest, and we hold that air, and we don't want to let it out. And we don't realize that we're doing this, but that adds to our tension, our stress. So diaphragmatic breathing, taking deep breaths and trying to move the air to your abdomen, is purposely helping you send the signals to your brain to calm itself, to calm your body, to stand down. So another way to think about this is we have our fight or flight system. Our bodies have created this way of keeping us safe, of if they think that there's a threat, it kicks on and it starts us breathing really quickly. You might have heart palpitations, you could feel dizzy, lightheaded. people describe it as they feel like they're having a heart attack. The best way to tell your body, thank you, I'm glad that I know that system works, you can stand down, is to take slow, deep breaths. Because panic feels awful, but it's your body trying to help you. So diaphragmatic breathing, deep breathing, is a really, really nice evidence-based strategy to help you take care of yourself. Key components. You see our little bunny here. I love this little picture. The only thing I don't enjoy is that he's not exhaling through his mouth, or at least it doesn't appear to be. But so the key steps here are inhaling through your nose, moving the air to your belly, and breathing out through your mouth. So you can do this at all different lengths of time. So there, we're going to practice on the next slide what's called 4-7-8 breathing, but you do not have to breathe in or out that long. It's breathing in a way that's comfortable for you. If you go down the YouTube rabbit hole of deep breathing videos, you could watch videos for days. And most of them are good. I haven't perused every single one, but there are TED Talks on different types of breathing, and they're interesting. It's finding what works for you. So if you are breathing in through your nose, trying to get the air to your belly, and breathing out through your mouth, everything else is icing on the cake. So it's whatever's comfortable for you. I will say another key piece to that is, as much as possible, to make sure that you're breathing out a little bit longer than you're breathing in. So we're going to practice the 4-7-8. And so you're going to breathe in for 4 seconds, hold for 7, and breathe out for 8. But if you feel more comfortable breathing in for 2, holding for 7, and breathing out for 4, totally fine. Making sure that you're breathing out a little bit longer helps give you space to take in new air. The only other thing I will say before we step into practice is you can feel a little bit lightheaded. So the side effects will dissipate. Just don't operate heavy machinery the first couple times. You do some good deep breathing, but there's really not a lot of cost that comes with this. When you sleep and you're not thinking about how you're breathing, or you're not in the daily stress of constricting your breath, you naturally deep breathe. Your body knows how to do this. So help it during the day. Do this. All right. You've already, great. So I'm going to ask you to sit with your feet flat on the floor, placing one hand on your chest and one hand on your belly or abdomen. And again, this is to make sure that while we're doing this, you want to feel your belly hand move. This hand, sorry microphone, shouldn't be moving. If you notice that it's moving, be like, all right, well, let me make efforts to try to move the air deeper. And in a moment, I'm going to ask you to slowly inhale, and I'll count for you. Then we're going to hold for 7 seconds, and then I want you to breathe out through your mouth. When you breathe out, you can breathe out slowly, or you can breathe out and make noise with it, like a whooshing sound. It's whatever's comfortable, but doing this in a slow way. So the imagery that I like to use is that I'm smelling like freshly baked cookies, and I don't want to breathe in really quick. I want to slowly breathe in that smell, and then I'm going to slowly exhale. All right, so we're going to practice for about 5 times. I'm going to count through with you, and then we will be close to question time. All right, so take a moment, and we are going to start. Inhale for 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Exhale 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Inhale 2, 3, 4. Hold 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Exhale 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Inhale 2, 3, 4. Hold 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Exhale 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Inhale 2, 3, 4. Hold 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So if that felt hard at all, you're like, this is too long, that's okay. Remember, it's breathing comfortably. So your diaphragm is a muscle. Luckily, it doesn't hurt to use that muscle, but you can make it stronger, like any other muscle. So I think about opera singers who hold notes for minutes at a time. They practice, they use their diaphragm. So the more you breathe, and the more you breathe comfortably, slowly, relaxed, you'll find the longer your breath can be. There are apps. So one of the ones that I often recommend is called Breathe, the number 2, Relax. Do not pay for an app. There are tons of free ones. But the Breathe to Relax, I know it's on iPhones. I'm not sure about Androids. Sorry. But it lets you set your time for inhale. And if you want to pause and your time for exhale, you can have it have this column that goes up and like is showing you how long you should continue to breathe in and breathe out. You can pick your backdrop. So I think mine's a forest, but you can use, if we go to the next slide, you can use relaxing imagery. So like a beach, forest, or thinking about your home. If you don't want to use an app, that's totally fine. You can do this anywhere, anytime. Again, no heavy machinery operation. But you can be laying in bed. It's often recommended to practice laying down so you can really feel your stomach moving, your abdomen moving. You can be sitting up like we were, wherever's comfortable for you, and you've got time to do this. It's recommended to practice for 10 minutes a day. So the idea behind practicing for 10 minutes is to make it a habit. Our bodies love patterns. So if you create healthy patterns and your body gets used to doing some deep breathing, and say you're somebody who does experience panic-like symptoms, if you make a habit of deep breathing and getting your body used to feeling relaxed, that when you really need it, when you're in a panic-like state and you start to take those first few breaths, your brain, your body goes, I know what we're going to do. Oh, we're doing that deep breathing thing. We like this. This helps us feel better. I'm going to help you more quickly because I know it's coming. I'm going to try to help us feel more relaxed. The other key pieces on here are you can use other imagery. Often when kids are taught deep breathing, they're taught, and sorry people on Zoom, you can't see this, but I'm holding my hands in front of my belly. They are taught that they are imagining a balloon, and that when they breathe in, they're slowly blowing up that balloon. And when they breathe out through their mouth, they're slowly deflating that balloon. And I think that's useful imagery for anyone, but it's really making sure that when you're exhaling for however long that is comfortable for you, you are emptying out your lungs so that you can take in another deep breath. The other caveat or just kind of information I'll say is if you look up 4-7-8 breathing and you go on a trail of some of the literature that's been written, there was once a claim that doing 4-7-8 breathing would like instantly cure insomnia. I have not found any literature that actually supports that. I don't believe that. But it is a good deep breathing strategy. And it might help you fall asleep. So one of the things I often recommend to individuals who do have insomnia type issues is do some deep breaths. When you're laying in bed, when you are trying to fall back to sleep, take some slow, deep breaths. Again, in through your nose, trying to move the air to your belly, and out through your mouth. And that should be helping you feel relaxed, which could help you sleep. But is it like instantaneous? No, because then you all would have heard of this already, and that person would be a billionaire. On to our very last slide, which is, do you have any questions, or what questions do you have?
You mentioned that there was like a course coming up. Where would we find that information? And
It's on the My Solutions website, and I believe it's also on the sites.psu.edu/LionPulse. It's on the calendar. I believe those are Tuesday or Wednesday evenings. Yeah, so for those of you on Zoom, if you go to the Hershey campus on sites.psu.edu, you will see a calendar of events, and you'll see the mindfulness-based stress reduction on there. And some of those are Zoomable as well, so you could Zoom in through any campus.
you'd have to sign up for it.
Yeah, so there's two courses. One is more intensive, and that one you do have to sign up for. The regular one that happens every 2 weeks, you don't have to sign up for.
The longer course, the one with Dr. Riley, and I can't remember his compatriot's name, I apologize, but there is a cost to that. There's a fee involved with that as well. So I don't want to mislead.
While we wait for more questions, I did want to share, this is Abby Keinerd with Penn State Pro Wellness. For the people that are joining us via Zoom, if you're interested in the mindfulness book that has been mentioned throughout the speech today, please email bewell@pennstatehealth.psu.edu. Include your name and your inner office code, and we will make sure that you get copies mailed to you. Again, it was bewell@pennstatehealth.psu.edu.
Okay, we do have a Zoom question. It asks, do you have a recommendation for how often one should implement some of these stress relieving practices?
So we talked about a few of them. So I'm going to answer it this way, and hopefully this answers the question. My encouragement is think about what really would work for you, the reality of what you could actually fit in your schedule, with also prioritizing your wellness and your self-care. So one of the things that can happen is you've got your to-do list, and on that list, I have added be social. And that, I mean, if you make it once a week, that's fantastic. If it needs to be once a month, okay, but don't isolate yourself. But my hope for you would be to really engage in these activities in a way that's realistic. The deep breathing is recommended to practice daily, again, for about 10 minutes, more if you can. Exercise, work it into your daily routine. So again, things like taking the stairs if you're able to, vigorously vacuuming, carrying things up the stairs maybe in different sets. So like if you're bringing in the groceries, taking up, you know, the gallon of milk and then coming back for the next bag, when you could have maybe beast moded it and done it all at once. But that's more cardio, and that counts. So hopefully that answered the question. But the take home is what's realistic. Because I have listened to a lot of wellness speeches and read a lot of wellness literature, and one thing that we know, and we know it just in psychology, is that we get into this framework of, oh, okay, somebody's telling me to do something, and they're telling me how to do it. My receptor brain is going, oh, well, I can't do that. I can't do it that way. That's never going to work for me. Oh, no. So my hope for you would be, if anything that you've heard today or other strategies you've heard about where you're like, maybe that's not going to realistically work for me, if you can find a way to augment them to make them work for you, do that. It still counts. If it's like, oh, okay, well, I could do that every 3 months. Okay, maybe hopefully not the exercise, eat healthy, or sleep part, but the, you know, go be social, or, you know, volunteer your time or your money, or, you know, maybe you can't afford to give donations every other day. Okay, but figuring out what's realistic for you is really going to be the key point here, because we could talk about great strategies till the cows come home, and if you can't make them fit into your life, they're not going to help you. Any other questions?
Yes, we actually do have one. It's kind of 3 questions in one, so I'll read it all together to see, maybe that will help you answer it. But it says, do the kind acts apply to family and kids, things we do for others all the time, or being in a job we're doing for others is just the expectation?
Great question. So the idea behind it being a mindful practice is yes to all of those. So everything counts as long as you feel like it counts. So if you're doing that self-critical thing, which I kind of highlighted on the slide of when you're thinking about things that you could do or you have done to be a benefactor, don't start knocking things off the list because they are part of your job. Like I'm supposed to do that. Or, oh, I'm a parent, I'm supposed to tell my kids they did a great job or hug them. That's not necessarily a given. Or if you're feeling stressed, fatigued, burnt out, you again might start to feel like you're ineffective and what you do doesn't matter. Oh, I could hug my kid, but I don't know if they even care. It's that kind of mindset that you need to break out of. So purposely doing things for the people that you care about totally counts. If you want it to be for strangers, that counts as well. All of it counts. It's really how you make it meaningful. It's a good question. Any other questions?
Hi, I'm Dennis Mills. I'm a clinical educator in the medical group, and I've been asked on multiple occasions to come out and do something around stress, and I often have a half hour or an hour. So are you available to come to meet with groups at 7 in the morning or?
Sorry, my stress reduction just came out.
Can I, how available are your journals? Because I have 2 requests right now that I have an hour in a back hall to talk about stress with staff.
Gotcha. Well, I'd be happy to talk to you like offline about that, because if it's helpful, so I already have agreed to talk to a group in radiology about stress. I'm happy to do that within reason. So again, here you go. Here's a great modeling of women say yes a lot. I've got hopefully some expertise that was helpful, and I'd love to share that. I need to balance that between all the other responsibilities that I have. So let's talk about it.
And just a reminder, this session is being recorded as well. So another option for those of you who are either in person or online, if you think this is really great and want to show your department, you can go to sites.psu.edu and you can find the recording and show it to your department as well. And it will also probably be on My Solution. Give us a couple weeks to edit and get it up.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. I'm mindful of time. Any other questions?
If there are any lingering questions, please, again, email us at bewell@pennstatehealth.psu.edu. And even if you're interested in the recording, we would be able to send you a link that way. We also ask that you take the time to fill out the survey.
Oh, yes.
There's a link on the screen for those that are visiting us remotely. And those in person, we have handed out the paper forms.
Yes, please give me feedback. That helps me learn and grow.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Radico.